Imagine being trapped in a prison, but the prison is not made of bars and chains. It's made of your own thoughts. Negative thoughts that haunt you, taunt you, and hold you back from achieving your dreams. But what if I told you that you have the power to break free from this prison, to shatter the chains of negative thinking and unlock your true potential? In this video, we'll explore the ancient wisdom of philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, who knew the secrets of overcoming negative thinking. So, let's dive in and discover how to kill your negative thinking and unleash your inner strength. The problem of negative thinking. Negative thinking is a plague that affects millions of people around the world. It's a constant companion that whispers doubts, fears, and anxieties into our ears. As the ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But how do we react to negative thoughts? Do we let them consume us, or do we learn to overcome them? The problem with negative thinking is that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more we think negative thoughts, the more we attract negative experiences into our lives. But here's the good news. Our mindset is not fixed. We can change it, shape it, and mold it to serve us. As Seneca said, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. So what do you want to become? Do you want to become a slave to negative thinking? Or do you want to become a master of your own mind? The power of mindset is that it allows us to choose how we react to circumstances. We can choose to see the positive, or we can choose to see the negative. But how do we develop this mindset? How do we become aware of our negative thoughts and choose to replace them with positive ones? The answer lies in self-awareness. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Self-awareness is the ability to observe our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment. It's the ability to see ourselves as we truly are and to make changes accordingly. So how do we cultivate self-awareness? One powerful tool is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment, without judgment. It's the practice of observing our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. As Epictetus said, the greatest wealth is to live content with little. Mindfulness helps us to live content with little by appreciating the present moment. Another powerful tool is positive self-talk. Positive self-talk is the practice of speaking kindly to ourselves rather than critically. As Seneca said, we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Positive self-talk helps us to reframe our imagination and to see ourselves in a more positive light. But what about when we're faced with negative self-talk? How do we overcome the critical voice in our head? One strategy is to challenge negative thoughts. Ask yourself if they're really true or if they're just a product of your imagination. Another strategy is to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a close friend. But overcoming negative thinking is not just about changing our thoughts. It's also about building resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to keep moving forward despite obstacles. Another key to overcoming negative thinking is to cultivate gratitude. As Cicero said, gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues but the parent of all the others. By focusing on what we're thankful for, we can shift our perspective and start to see the good in our lives. So take a few minutes each day to reflect on what you're grateful for. Write it down in a journal, share it with a friend or family member, or simply take a moment to silently acknowledge the good things in your life. One of the biggest obstacles to overcoming negative thinking is our desire for perfection. As Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. But what happens when we're not excellent? When we make mistakes or fall short of our goals? The answer is to embrace imperfection, to recognize that we're human and that it's okay to make mistakes. By embracing imperfection, we can let go of our need for perfection and start to see ourselves in a more realistic and compassionate light. Finally, one of the most important things we can do to overcome negative thinking is to practice forgiveness. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. When we hold on to resentment and anger, we're not hurting the person who wronged us, we're hurting ourselves. So take a moment to reflect on the people and experiences in your life that you're still holding on to. Ask yourself if it's worth it to continue carrying around that resentment and anger, and then take a deep breath and let it go. Very important one is to create a positive environment. The people we surround ourselves with, the media we consume, and the environment we create for ourselves all have a profound impact on our thoughts and emotions. As Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, take a look at the people in your life and ask yourself if they're supporting and uplifting you. Also, be mindful of the media you consume. Avoid excessive news, social media, and other sources of negativity. Instead, seek out uplifting and inspiring content that nourishes your mind and soul. Finally, the most important thing you can do to overcome negative thinking is to take action. As Lao Tzu said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Don't wait for the perfect circumstances or until you feel ready. Just start taking small steps towards your goals and dreams. Remember, overcoming negative thinking is a journey, not a destination. It takes time, effort, and practice. But with persistence and determination, healthier and more fulfilling life. You can learn to overcome negative thinking and live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life.